I wanted us to talk about, if you guys even have any, talk about your most controversial opinions that we don't
Oh,
all already agree on. Like our group doesn't already unanimously agree on. We
oh,
already know what we agree on, such as the Jews, but I know there are things that we don't all agree with each other on, and I wanted to discuss all of that.
that's actually really interesting. I gotta think about that a little because I most of it involves like anime shit. So I don't think it would be
What?
like, and by anime shit, I also mean like VTuber shit too. Just opinions I have about the community, especially right wing, quote unquote, right wing VTubers who are not actually right wing.
But I was really mostly talking about concepts,
Oh,
like
concepts.
general
Gotcha.
things. Do you have any try, or do you guys just want me to start this off?
Um, Aside from my theological beliefs, truth be told, we'd have to get into exact definitions of what some of the words we use are, just to understand, to see if we know a concept to be the same thing, first of all, if we can agree on what it is, and then I'd be able to extrapolate whether or not uh, I have a controversial opinion that doesn't align with what you guys think about it afterwards. If it's okay, I actually have an example to kind of start us off, which should set the precedent and for what my input will be on this topic.
Sure.
Okay, so I've heard the term "wife guy" thrown around, especially uh, during that one fiasco with Okairo, Scurvy, and well, actually, all three of you guys, and whoever that one dude on X Twitter was. I want to make sure we all
Some
understand. Yeah,
he is an Orthodox Christian, but the wife guy thing kind of goes against what a man should be in the role of marriage. It's like you shouldn't be you shouldn't be a buck broken little simp for your wife. You should love
okay.
your wife, but you shouldn't be a buck broken simp for her. I would define wife guy as that as it is now, because originally when the term was made, it was about, it was made by groypers who were making fun of guys who like actually like love their wives in the proper biblical sense, and they like talking about their family. Could say a little bit too much, but that's a different thing
Okay.
entirely.
All right. Ark, do you agree with Scurvy on this, on that definition, both how it's applied now and what it really meant?
So all I've really gathered is it just means you're simpy for your wife. So I guess yeah, I
As
agree
it's
with that.
currently applied. Yeah. So here's my hot take. Given the original definition that Scurvy explained, I don't actually see the issue in being a wife guy per se, in the sense that I think a woman's retardation can be very endearing. Of course, that doesn't mean you should give her power, because then it becomes destructive.
Yep.
Are we? Wait, is that? I'm kind of confused now. Like, are we talking about women being retarded, or are we talking about simping for your wife?
A little bit of both.
I mean, they're not even close to the same thing. Like, I wouldn't call a guy who just called his wife really dumb to be a wife guy. That wouldn't be the first thing that crosses my mind. I'm lost.
Oh, no, that's kind of the point, because there's how that's being applied, which is basically just being the husband being submissive to the wife. And then there's what it originally meant, as Scurvy was describing, groypers were using to poke fun at men who found the retardation of their wives endearing. I didn't phrase it exactly as you said, Scurvy, but I hoped I at least paraphrased it well enough to.
No, you got
No.
it. You got it.
Okay, so my hot take, if it's a hot take, is that it is shameful to be a wife guy in the current application, but as originally applied by the Groypers, I think that's a compliment.
I see. I see.
What is the Groyper definition exactly?
I'll explain it again. Basically, the Groypers were calling like people who found, their wives, their wives' oddities to be endearing, and they were like, and because because the guys would post about it on social media, the Groypers were like, oh wow, look at this guy right here. He simps for his wife, when it's like, no, that's not what those people were. That's not what those people were doing. They were just making observations about their wives. And could they get a little out of hand? A little bit. That wasn't until the current wave of wife guys started, just taking that whole thing to be like, oh, I love my wife. She's my whole world, and it's just simping. It's just a bunch of sympatry.
Okay. That's a really strange reason to start that trend or come up with that word. If it's just finding your wife's oddities endearing, like that's where wife guy came from. That's
it's
really
Groypers,
strange.
man.
Yeah,
It's
even
Groypers.
Fuentes doesn't like his own followers. And I just think,
Yeah,
like,
no shit.
if your own leader doesn't like you, just what are you people even for?
Well,
Yeah.
useful idiots, I guess.
Okay, so the whole reason I even brought that up, and that we talked about this for the past few minutes, the way we did, was to show an example of the kind of crossroads I'd be in sharing any opinions that may or may not be hot takes. And as to say that I don't know what will and will not be a take of mine that you guys would disagree with, unless we understand what exactly we're talking about first.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that all that much of a hot
Ooh.
take.
I actually
You see,
do have a bit of a hot take myself.
If I may, real quick, just
Yeah.
that's more or less the point, all right? Because I don't know how many of what I think could be hot takes of mine are actually hot takes. It'd have to be, let's cross that bridge when we get to it for each and every single one.
All right, well, let's see what Scurvy has. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this, and this is something that I didn't initially agree with, but as I started thinking more and more, and also having discussions with other fellow Christians, I am wholeheartedly gonna say, anime is not right wing. Anime is not right wing. No matter how many times I see people on Twitter say, "Oh, this anime is right wing." It may have right wing themes, but the people behind the people who are behind the creators behind these series and properties, they are not right wing. They are just a mild flavor of liberal who know how to tell stories and don't let their personal biases get in the way. But anime in itself and the theme and many of the themes that it likes to present and share are pretty liberal, all things considered.
I don't see how an art style can be right wing or left.
We're talking about the medium. We're talking about the medium here.
I know.
Not just the art style.
I know. Like, what's the difference, though?
Well, when I say anime, I'm talking about the medium. I should also clarify manga as well. Anime and manga.
You're talking about the kind of the themes that are portrayed in the stories that are written.
No. Still not clear enough. Are you talking about the majority of people who make this stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm talking about the people who make this stuff and the themes that they put into their stories.
Okay, because I find it funny that I'm the only one of us who's not autistic, and even I had an autistic approach to this. I'm like, wait, you're talking about the entire thing? Like, how is that inherently right or left? That didn't make any sense.
But the reason why people would find that to be a hot take, especially among like right-wing anime fans, is that they don't know how to actually, like, they say they're noticers, but I don't really believe that. Some of their other habits tell me that they are looking for themes that are like they might be there, but not in like the way that you're thinking they are there.
Yeah.
Maybe not as prevalent as they're trying to make it out to be.
Yeah. I have a few funny
cases,
things to say about this. So, unless you had an important thought there, try.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that even in instances where there were certain anime and manga series that were actually right wing, those would be exceptions that prove that general rule.
Yes.
Yeah, exceptions always prove the rule. So, speaking of exceptions, yeah, I think you certainly can have meaningful, in every sense of the word, stories through anime. I like I forget.
It doesn't mean that it's bad. Like, I'm not saying it's bad because it
I know
isn't inherently right wing.
I wasn't saying that either.
Okay.
I forget
Sorry.
his name. I forget his name, but the guy who made Spirited Away. I like his stories.
Miyazaki?
Yeah. I like his stories. I think they're generally good stories. And that's anime. Did he also make, oh, what's it called? I own this movie.
He made a bunch of things.
I own this movie and I still don't remember what it's called. It's like it's about the forest. There's like a spirit of the forest.
Spirited Away.
That's not it. I'm gonna go.
Or is it My Neighbor Totoro? It's one of those two.
No. I'm gonna go look.
Yeah, I'm kind of out of the loop on this one. The only two films from Studio Ghibli I've actually seen in full, actually three, are Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo, and Tales from Earthsea.
Okay, it's called Princess Mononoke.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I am retarded.
Yeah, I was like, Spirited Away, that does not sound right. Princess Mononoke. I don't think that's made by the same guy, but that's also a good story, in my opinion. So yeah, anime can be good. It can have right-wing messages. But yeah, generally it's almost as left-wing as you can get without being straight up illegal. Like everyone, like for example, my ex-wife, when I was with her, this is when I first really noticed that anime has these tendencies. But so like she was really, probably still is, really into fairy tale. Have you guys heard of that?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. And that's how I learned about Urza, and she's like my biggest fictional crush. That's how I learned about Urza, like, because Brooke was really into fairy tale. But with things like fairy tale, but also just anime in general, because she watched several different animes, and they all had this general theme of like, these are either teenagers or they're adults that look like teenagers. But no matter what, they're always hypersexualized.
Oh, don't get me started on loli fits. Don't get me started on that.
Like in
I made an hour-long video about that.
Jeremy, that's more or less, that's kind of the far end of what he's getting at here, but continue, Ark.
But yeah, I'm not terribly familiar with that, and that's why, honestly, I didn't watch your video, because I'm not terribly familiar with it. But with fairy tale, just as an example, there's not really a single main character with that story. It's an ensemble. It's like 20 different main characters at once. But all of the females have like enormous jugs. Enormous. Like all of them. That they all have perfect figures and a huge bust. And I remember asking my ex-wife when we were together, I'm like, why do they all have these features? And she didn't really have an answer for that. But I was just like, it's just unrealistic. This is not what most women look like, but this is what fairy tale portrays basically all women as. Like all women are perfect 10s. Exaggerated.
In
10s.
a way, in a way, it's a fantasy. Like partially the reason why a lot of female anime characters look the way they do is, well, one, because majority of the readers of manga are male. Same with most consumers of anime. They are male, and
Yeah.
guys do like to look at that. But a thing that I notice when that's all there is to it, it's just like the story suffers because it seems to be more focused on just showing off sexualized female characters, but it's like
But it's also
you're
the
not
males
telling
too.
you're not telling a good story.
It's also the
Yeah, it's
males
just
too. I
fan
noticed like
service.
they always have like 8 packs. They always have maybe not big muscles, but they at least have they're toned in their own masculine way. Like the men look perfect as well, and they're not fully clothed either. So it goes both ways. And that's most of anime, I would notice. Like Fairy Tail is just
Well,
the one that made me realize that this happens across all of anime, basically. But
Well, Arch, let me explain the like why the guys always look ripped. In regards of like a male reader, it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, this guy looks good. It's like it's mainly to inspire like young men to like get it, like get in shape, become like physically fit. Because let's be real, there's not many female readers of shonen, specifically shonen. They have, women have their own genre. It's called, it's called shojo. The men look a bit more realistically proportioned. They're not like, hyper muscular. Same with the women too. I noticed shojo, the proportions are a bit more like natural, but that has its own things too. It's like most of the shojo stories are about like, romance, which that's a good thing. I do think that is a good thing that most shojo stories are about romance, but it could get a little bit too female power fantasy almost. Not in regards of like the fights, but just like the hold that she has over the main male lead, the main female lead over the male main lead.
yeah, there's
I
a
don't
lot of
think
that in
any
the
of us.
stories.
I don't think any of us really disagrees with the original point. So,
Huh? I
w-
thought I would have got some pushback there.
I mean,
I probably
that's-
will from the anime
It's
fans.
not even in the
well,
same ballpark as where I was hoping this conversation would go, but I was still
Well,
willing to go along with it for a little bit.
I mean, I
it's
know.
not something I've really noticed, Scurvy. I'll give you that. So, yeah,
I just
that is to
okay.
say, I don't disagree.
Gotcha. I could also get into some. I could also get into some further details, but it would piss off the anime fans who might be watching it more than you guys. So probably wouldn't piss you guys off at all because I
Yeah,
don't. Judging from the way that this conversation was going, yeah, I don't think you guys would have been particularly been like, oh, this is. I actually disagree with you, Scurvy.
I was
But I would
hoping
have
for
said
far
something
more.
about just.
I was
I
hoping for
was gonna
something
say
far more
something.
philosophical.
I mean, I was gonna say the fact that the lolicons are really starting to infiltrate the right wing movement is of concern. But I guess I could get to that after you guys are done giving your takes because that's something I could talk. Oh, actually, that might be a future video.
Oh, since we're on the topic, you're familiar with the inverse of that problem because I did watch your video, so I know you're aware of this issue.
Shotokan, yes.
How prevalent? Not because I want to look for any of this stuff, mind you, but I hear a lot about the lolicon community, not a lot about the Shotokan community. Are they just smaller generally, or do they know how to keep to themselves more so than not?
It's both, but the Shotacons are starting to get a bit more vocal because they see their male counterparts get away with saying with all the shit that they say,
Got
and
it.
they feel like it's like, oh, it's my time to shine, but they also have to and kind of like to keep things on the down low to try to make themselves look more virtuous, quote unquote, somehow, even though the Shotacons, I would argue, are much more degenerate than Lolicons. But let's be real, they're both absolutely degenerate.
the but the Shotokon's are at least smarter about it. It seems.
Yeah, they even though Shotacons are majority women, which is that says something, but that's a whole other rabbit hole right there.
Sorry,
Oh,
we're
it's all
getting
right.
really off topic now. That was my bad.
I don't
No, no,
even
no,
know what the
it's all
hell
right.
these terms are that you're using. However, I did have an epiphany about the subject of anime while we've been talking about this. So it's not entirely off topic. And I think I actually figured out kind of by accident in the last couple of minutes why, and I don't mean this as an insult, guys, why autistic people like anime so much. I think it's because just the art style alone is very childlike. It's a very childlike depiction of reality. Bright, vibrant colors, exaggerated movements, no matter what's happening. And I can't really think of a single anime I've ever seen or heard of that I would classify as like, this is adult. They always seem to be geared toward all ages, and they're really pushing that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
that might be the reason. Yeah. So
If
by
I'm
I
that,
know.
if that's true, if my theory's correct, then yeah, inherently anime can't be right wing for just
I
like by
mean,
its
I know
nature
there's
not being realistic.
well, I know there's the seinen genre that is a bit more on the mature, very much on the mature end. I mean, there's don't get me started on Berserk. It's like the imagery in Berserk is like some it could yeah, naturally some of it is going to be exaggerated, like when it comes to like Guts swinging his giant ass sword. It's like the swings are going to be exaggerated to show just how much force is being put into the strike.
I'm
um
actually going to kind of build upon what you're saying here. Well, more so allude to what you're getting at. If I may add on to your realization here, Argyosophy, because what Scurvy's getting at here is there are certain anime and manga that are solely geared to adults, and it's more often than not very unsubtle about it. The conclusion I came to regarding this topic, it is actually something we've talked about kind of casually before, and I don't remember, Scurvy, if you're we agreed to have an entire
I
separate
might need to pause you because I'm not saying they're all for children. I'm not saying that like they're cartoons. They're just your average cartoons. I'm actually saying they are geared for adults who have minds more geared like children. And again, I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm really not, just being honest here.
No.
From what I've seen from autism, is that it seems to be either part of your brain didn't finish developing or didn't develop at all. Like there's something stunted about your brain there, and anime seems to appeal to that. Like you cannot perceive all of reality accurately.
And I wasn't going to disagree with
hold on.
anything you said on the matter. I
Okay.
am, however, expanding upon it because I don't think it is solely that. Well, first of all, to kind of emphasize what you were just talking about now, a lot of how anime is written is very unsubtle, just outright. Like, it seems to be an Achilles heel for Japanese writers to not explicitly show or tell certain events in their stories. Very, very few seem to actually be able to handle their writing with the finesse of a good Western writer. But to go back to the original point I was making about that lack of subtlety, anime characters, their emotions are very, very easy to read. Like as in they're naturally so exaggerated, given the nature that they're in, that there is no mistaking what a character is feeling at that moment. And something that a lot of autists, definitely myself, I can assure you, struggle with is reading people. And not in any kind of like not as a reading people's skill set sort of way, but just as a regular communicating with people sort of way, of a way, like the lack of picking up social cues, for example.
Yeah, everything in anime is exaggerated, and I kind of think if you were to summarize what anime is in one word, it would basically be that it's exaggerated art. Men, they're exaggerated, physique. They're really strong, really fit. The women have huge chests. All the emotions they're screaming while they're crying, and when they're crying, it's like a waterfall coming out of their eyes. Like everything is exaggerated, and that might be the appeal. Just a theory.
I will say,
And for that reason, it can't be right wing.
I will say the Japanese series that I feel like actually, and I've had this epiphany about the Guilty Gear series in particular. That's what this is about. It's not necessarily anime. It's an anime fighter. It's a video game series, though it does have an anime series. But basically, what I noticed about the characters is that most of them are some form of socially awkward, which is like, oh, that's great. Whenever a new character comes out, I get to see, oh, how is this character like me? It's like, in what way is this character socially awkward? It's kind of refreshing to see characters who are a bit more on the weird side, who it's like, oh wow. Even though these characters are all, pretty strong, it's just like they have a hard time talking to people, but that, for some of them, that hasn't stopped them from getting bitches.
To be fair, Scurvy, that's not necessarily a appealing to autist thing. That's very much anyone who can relate to being that way can find appeal in that. It's a bit more broad.
I see.
I will though relate this to what you tried to give as an example of appreciating ditziness in women. That's actually one of the things I like so much about Urza from Fairy Tale. Like, she's not just, you guys know what I like, redheads, and, she's in shape and all that. But her personality is like that of like she's very strong, but still feminine. It's more like a reinforced femininity. And the things that she wants most out of life have nothing to do with battling. Like, her favorite activity is going on picnics, And oftentimes she is really spacey and like kind of dumb, like really dumb.
You'd probably like Jacko from Guilty Gear then. She's a redhead, also ditzy, strong, but also very feminine. I like Jacko.
I would I don't want to say simp, but if Urza were a real person, I'd be all over that. Like, I would actually enjoy her company. I don't think she would even be the type to like nag me about shit. I think she only does that in the show because she's surrounded by people who are just as dumb as she is. But I don't really see her as being a nag, really. So yeah, I would actually enjoy her company, and I would not simp for her outright, but I would be happy to tell people that I like her, But wife guys, as I think of them, are just straight up simps. My wife is the best. My wife always knows what she's talking about. I clashed with my own cousin about this subject. He's not even married. He's just with the same woman for, I don't even know how long, 10 years now. He said that to me once. He said, like, because we were arguing about his sister, who's a complete fucking psycho. We were arguing about her. And at one point, I brought his girlfriend into the discussion. I don't remember what I said exactly, but he's like, well, it might not be a great idea to bring her into this because she tends to never be wrong about anything. And I was just like, weak, pathetic man. I lost so much respect for you in the last 5 seconds. Holy shit. Yeah, straight up simping like that. fuck off.
Like-
Like you're basically a woman yourself if you simp like that for your woman. But the occasional like, I like this about my woman is fine. Just don't portray her as like she's flawless or anything close to that, because that's horseshit.
Not even the prophets of old were without fault.
Yeah.
So that's to imply any one person or group of people in your life, to hold them to such a standard, I'm pretty sure we would call that idolatry.
That is the wife guy
Correct me
though, like idolizing their woman. And let's be honest,
Yeah,
they don't really deep down they're just scared of what she'll do if they don't worship the ground she walks on. It's fear. It's not genuine.
and the thing is, it's like that in itself is not what a man should be doing in a marriage. It's like he is not the one who's supposed to be like the door, like he's not supposed to be a doormat. Like he's the one that should be having, or as the kids say, wearing the pants in the relationship. But in regards to that whole like like the whole simping thing, especially in regards to marriage, it's just like, also a lot of the guys, I think, this is a phrase that I've heard a lot, and like from this one guy's channel. His name is Divine. I think he's Orthodox, but I hear him say the phrase, it's like, like, and he's usually talking about like, like the Protestant pastors who basically let their daughters just kind of do whatever the fuck they want. But he says, the like these pastors, like they lust after their wives. Like the only reason why they're even doing all this simping stuff, is because it's like that's all he values is just the old in and out. Like, and if he doesn't comply with her, that means that means he's not going to be able to do the old in and out on a regular basis. So, but the thing is, women also don't find that attractive, and that's also not like what is expected of a marriage, is just like the man to just be dominated by lust. Um, don't get me wrong; it's like, sex is supposed to happen in a marriage. Like, the husband and the wife shouldn't be denying themselves, but if you two are going to have like a period of abstinence, that's something you need to discuss. She can't just go cold turkey on you, but you also can't be so reliant. You also can't be so reliant on sex, and to the point where it's like that's all. It basically controls your life and your marriage, and that will impact your ability to actually lead in the marriage.
Yeah, they're basically spiritual virgins, even though they're married with kids. They're still basically virgins in that they think the greatest thing there is getting laid. That's really what it is. Like, that's what they are afraid of, is no longer having access to sex. That's what controls them. It just straight up controls them. And I think what really makes a man, or at least the easiest way to tell a real man apart from a weak man, the quickest way, can he leave his woman? Could he just leave her? Yes or no? That's the distinction. Any man who could not leave his woman, no matter what she did. And I've actually heard a pastor say, he was like giving a lesson about something in Genesis. Anyway, doesn't matter. He said, like, if my wife cheated on me, I would forgive her. And I told her that I would forgive her. And I just thought, you pathetic moron. You basically just gave your wife a free pass to cheat on you because she knows you'll forgive her. Why would you do that?
I can tell, but I would say, you could like forgiveness. You shouldn't forgive that immediately. I still think the wiser move because she's the one. She is the one who, by cheating, destroyed the marriage. So in a just world, it would be the father who would get custody of the kids because he's still he's still in he still has stake in it because he's actually still interested in maintaining the family. He would get custody, and in due time he would forgive her, but doesn't mean that he'll take her back. I would recommend that he shouldn't.
I don't think any man with self-respect would. Well, that's the key, self-respect.
It's also just a moral thing too. It's not just about self-respect. Like morally, I think you are obligated to take off if your partner cheats on you, if they betray you. You should take off, whether you have kids or not. They already destroyed it. They already destroyed the sanctity of the relationship. You're supposed to be one flesh. It's already.
I'm basically
destroyed.
arguing that you should take off with the kids. Well, not like kidnap them, but
Yeah, you should have custody of them.
Yeah, you should have custody. I think custody, like in terms of custody battles, I think the father should be the one who earns custody most of the time. I'm learning more and more that it's like, yes, children need their mother and their father, but they especially need their father, especially by the time they're age 5 or above. That's when dad needs to be. That's when dad really needs to be in the picture.
Yeah, one of the unfortunate things about being a woman is when you really think about it, and maybe you guys haven't thought about this before, but you're supposed to be taking care of infants and toddlers your whole life. Like first it's your own, like you're supposed to have as many as you can yourself, and then you're also taking care of your own siblings' kids, maybe the occasional friends' kids. Then your kids grow up, and then they have their own kids, and now you're taking care of grandkids, and so on. The whole network, your immediate family, your household, and then your relatives, sometimes your friends, sometimes your neighbors. But you're basically supposed to be taking care of tiny people your whole life. Women are not meant to raise people past that age. Past that age, it's the man's turn to teach them things. It's the man's turn to truly be the one raising them. Whereas the woman is more geared for making sure they don't kill themselves by trying to eat a battery or something. And also giving birth to them in the first place. I mean, it sucks, but that really is the natural order there. After a certain age, the one who should be doing the heavy lifting as far as raising them goes is the father. That's why kids of single fathers turn out better than those of single mothers.
Yep.
This was supposed to be a discussion where we disagreed, by the way.
Well, I actually like this because I think we're about to.
I know.
This is more of an
half
appetizer.
Joking. I'm just pointing out that, so far everything, I don't think any of us here really disagree on what's been mentioned.
Yeah, this is just a warm up, so get ready. I was going to ask you guys to pick, because I only have 2 things in mind for myself. I was going to have you pick, but then I realized, no, one should be a warm up in itself for the second. So I'll bring up my controversial opinion that's a warm up to the last one. And I don't think I've ever said this on Twitter or to you guys. It involves homeless people. I think it should be illegal to be a bum, to beg for money on the side of the road, to be homeless entirely, to be addicted to drugs, to have brain damage from addiction to drugs. That should all be illegal. As in, if you are clearly just, you're filthy, you're walking around in clothes that haven't been washed in 2 years. You haven't had a shower in 2 years, and you're just babbling to yourself about complete nonsense. You should be tossed into either a camp of some kind or a prison. I do believe that. What are your guys'
And
take?
Okay.
in a way,
Um,
I kind of agree.
I fully agree, actually.
Oh, well, okay, I was expecting opposition here.
Can I interject with one of my perhaps controversial opinions? I'm not expecting you guys to disagree with it, but I imagine most people don't have the guts for this one.
There we go.
I think that half of what all of our politicians are doing on a regular basis should count as treason, and the sentence for treason should always be capital punishment. No exceptions.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
That is not going to look good on me, that's for sure. Just me screaming death. But it's our politicians, so who the fuck cares?
And to be clear, I don't even care about the portions of people doing it either, whether it's a few hundred or literal tens of millions. If you are a treasonous scumbag, you deserve to die. And I don't even believe,
I agree.
I'd even take this a step further. I don't even believe in a right to fair trial for traitors either. Nope. Death on sight.
Well, you have to know
you
for
don't get a dignified execution for selling out the people you're supposed to protect and serve. No.
Oh, you mean a dignified execution? I was gonna give you some backlash purely because, like, what if you're accusing the wrong person, and you don't want, especially women, you don't want people to just make shit up just to have someone offed by the state. That's bad. You need to know for sure if someone's guilty and then have a field day.
Yeah, that's more or less my point. Like, if it is clear that you have committed a act of treason, this might be a little violent for you two, but you can just blow their brains out right on the courtroom floor. Just done.
Yeah, get him on, get that shit on live leak.
There was a guy, this is slightly off topic, kind of a new topic ish, but I did some research into it was actually for a past video about lynching. There's a guy, a black guy, but I don't think his race really matters, because I think this kind of thing should happen to everyone who does heinous shit. But this black guy was found guilty of brutally raping and killing a woman. And I think this was in Alabama or something. Georgia, maybe. I don't remember. But anyway, as soon as he was found guilty, the town, it was a small town, the people in that town immediately took him, like dragged him out of the courtroom and tortured him to death for 2 hours. But like the town mob tortured him to death for 2 hours. They made some kind of contraption to where he kept being dipped into, I think it was hot water or boiling water, something like that, until he was unrecognizable. They just kept dipping him in and out of that until he was dead and unrecognizable. Now, do I think people who commit the most evil crimes, should they all be dealt with exactly like that? No, I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is, however people feel they should be punished, just go for it, because I'm sure it'll match what they did. How's that for a controversial opinion? Like, yeah, if you brutally rape and kill someone, I don't care how the mob kills you, you deserve it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But always have to be sure they're guilty, though. That's the important thing. But once they're found guilty,
Of course.
have at it.
Yeah.
Now, as Christians, we have to believe in repentance. So maybe not immediate punishment like that story I just told. People should be given a chance. And there have been people, like I think of Carla Faye Tucker, but there have been people who have done heinous crimes, who have repented completely, changed their ways completely. You do have to give them a chance at that. And sure, most of the time they're just going to fake it. So I don't think they should be spared entirely. Like, I don't think it was wrong to execute Carla Faye Tucker, even though she found God while in death row. But maybe you could at least spare them pain. But if they don't repent, like Ted Bundy, for example, there are many cases of people who don't repent at all, then yeah, make it painful if you want.
I do have a bit of a question in that regard. Has there ever been a penitent traitor? And I want to be clear that I'm using treason solely in the political sense, as in you have a very clear, supposedly, position of power and authority, and you abuse that to your ends that is in any way not to the benefit to the people that you're in charge of.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of strayed from the topic of betrayal. I was just talking about bad crimes in general. But yeah, I do.
I was going to say, mind if I interject something real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
So basically, the death, like us Orthodox Christians, we do not have a problem with the death penalty. I just thought I should let you know. We don't. We're not like the Catholics in that regard. We understand that if that's the punishment you get, that is the punishment you get. That is in a way your penance, and then you'll have a chance when you're going through the toll houses.
Now, if we were to address betrayal broadly, I do believe in punishment should fit the crime. So it would depend on the measure of betrayal in the situation. I just would not extend that mercy to people in charge, because there is no way I can think of. I mean, I guess you could maybe make the argument that, someone's being blackmailed to do certain things. It could be argued, I will admit, that in some cases, there's a blackmail involved, which I don't necessarily think people should get a freebie depending on the nature of the blackmail. But there are also people who do get their friends and family members who are hostages every once in a while. I could understand that rebuttal. The problem is that addresses the question of however long they're being blackmailed, or someone, a politician or a leader, cares about being held hostage. For what period of time did this persist until this leader or politician got caught? And during that time, were there avenues that they could have taken to get themselves out of that situation? This is to say that with all cases, this would require investigation before the sentence.
Okay.
After that, if they are found guilty and the evidence is clear, drawn in court or just draw, just get it done as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I do see your point. I do. In regards to just actually a whole lot in regards to our political elite, I would personally love if many of them were just executed on the spot, like in this moment.
Oh, yeah,
like I think the world. I don't think deportation to Israel is enough. I don't.
No.
I don't think that's a fitting punishment for the crime. I think they'd actually really like that and probably start jacking off to it. But I know for a fact they would love. I know our political leaders would hate to actually die because of the treason that they committed. They would just be like, oh wow, I get to be like all my other sex offender friends in Tel Aviv. This is amazing. But not if they're dead.
Here's a controversial
They can't
opinion.
go.
Here's a hot take. Because you said the word deportation. I don't believe in deportations at all. At all. In no situation do I agree with deportations. If you do not belong here, and if you've done something wrong to even warrant getting kicked out of here. I mean, I do believe in exiles, but only if it's like a slow death kind of exile, like you're left marooned on an island, only then. But like if you came into this country illegally, committed some crimes, you know, the conservatives, they keep saying like, you know, this person deserves to be deported because they did this crime and that crime. And I'm just thinking, isn't that a reward to just send them back home at our own expense, by the way? Isn't that just a reward? They get to come here, do whatever the hell they want, and we just kindly escort them out of the house? What if someone did that with your literal house? They broke in, did something wrong, severe or not, just did anything wrong. Would you just kindly like, please get out of here? Thank you.
So here's where I will push back only slightly. I recognize deportation as a valid punishment only if entering a nation illegally was the only crime. If that was it. Anything other than that?
Not even then. Oh, in my opinion. But keep going if you want. I disagree with that too.
Well, other than that, all I had to really add was, well, I guess more to your point, because you brought up exiles. Yeah, it really doesn't make sense to exile someone. Well, firstly, you're just making that person someone else's problem, so you're not solving anything for the world at large. And secondly, how do you know they're not going to just waltz right back in and keep causing trouble? So I suppose this is all to say, let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Do you guys remember?
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Do you guys remember shortly after Trump got elected? Do you guys remember the airplane story that was never really confirmed, but people believed it anyway? Like,
what airplane story?
Do you remember people thought that like one of these planes that was flying people out of the country to deport them, and it landed without them in it, but they were never dropped off where they were supposed to be. So people assumed that they were just jettisoned from the plane mid-flight. You guys didn't hear that?
Wait, like that, small little arc in Sakamoto. They just get yeeted off the plane.
Well, that was the belief, that they just got yeeted off. I'm sure that's not what happened, but honestly, I wouldn't have found it wrong if they did. Because here's how I see it. You break into a place you don't belong, that is the crime. Like, just because your country is much bigger than a house, it's no different in principle to a house. No different.
I see where you're coming from.
So if someone breaks into your house, why are you following any rules as far as conduct goes to deal with them? Any rules? I think if you break into a place you don't belong, a nation or a house, you break in intentionally. It's not like you got drunk and just stumbled across the border or something. You intentionally came here. You intentionally came here illegally in a manner we did not approve of. I think no manner of dealing with you is off the table. If we want to just execute you on the spot, sure.
I guess I just have one more question then. How do we deal with the children of the illegals, of the invaders? Because we're all familiar with those. You get what I'm asking.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Those we can deport. They did not do anything wrong themselves. They were not the ones who made that choice. So they can be deported. Or if someone from here wants to adopt them, I might be okay with that. They don't deserve punishment is my point. They did not make that choice. Their parents did.
But otherwise, let the bodies hit the floor. Okay. Yeah, no, I think we're in agreement.
Yeah, drop them from a plane if you want to. I don't give a shit. Why does it have to be our problem to deal with you when you don't belong here? Why do we, at our own expense, why do we have to deal with you and just kindly escort you out of here? Why? The real reason ICE isn't deporting as many people as we want them to, it's not just that it's unrealistic. There's tens of millions of them here now. It's not just because it's unrealistic. It's also because, well, it's a political thing. Like, I don't think they really want them gone. Even Republicans, even Trump, I don't think they really want the illegals gone. because our birth rate is plummeting, they don't really want them gone. But even if they did, it's impractical. There's too many of them here now. Why are there so many of them here? Because when you have to deal with these people humanely, it slows us down and it gets really expensive to the point it becomes impossible to get rid of them. So just be quick about it.
Just look at the Somalis. Just look at what's happening in Minneapolis, in Will Stansel's home of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
And I think this applies to every nation. I'm not just talking about America. Every nation. Every nation. Like, take Mexico, for example, and someone from Brazil comes into Mexico uninvited. Same thing. I'm not saying like only America should we deal with people like this. I think in principle, if someone breaks into your house, deal with them as you please. Plain and simple.
Well, in some states, if someone breaks into your house, you do have the right to shoot them.
I wish that was for everywhere. Yeah, everywhere in the States.
I mean, when it comes to
but the point
safety,
is,
like, I mean, do you really give a shit what the law says anyway? When it comes to your own safety, I'm not going to stop and let someone hurt me just because it might be illegal to defend myself. I'm going to defend myself. Worry about the law later.
Well, even if you don't know whether or not they're going to hurt you, just them trespassing on your property in some places gives you ground to respond in kind. And that's really what your position amounts to. Because, as you also brought up, the nation state is a bigger household.
Yep.
That's really what it is when you look at it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. I can't disagree with that.
Well, so far we have not found much to disagree on. Not exactly.
And this is the disagreement episode.
Yeah. But I guess I'm saving the best for last, and we're already there because we've agreed on basically everything. All right, so let's get into it. I'm sure you guys have seen my video, Adults Are Not Children.
Yes, I have.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think we've had this. I think we actually had this conversation already in regards to it's like,
but
why
I don't think we've thoroughly talked about it.
I will never ever be of the opinion that it's like someone my age. I've always been of the opinion that the youngest I could date is like 18. I don't have a problem with that. And personally, it's like I don't want to date somebody who is in high school anyways, or still is in high school.
That's understandable, Scurvy, but we're not really addressing at what age would you prefer to date someone. We're addressing at what age does someone become an adult.
Oh, because I always saw that as like in regards to like in regards to dating and all that, because I see that because an issue that I have with the whole, it's like below, somebody is an adult below the age of 18 is because that invites the lolicon motherfuckers to basically spout their bullshit about how a 30-year-old man wants to sleep with a 14-year-old girl.
Well, that's taking a degenerate, disgusting approach to it. That's not really even my argument, because I don't believe.
Okay.
I think that the concept of
maybe I might have. I might have missed the point.
You haven't
then, because
you're not totally in like a different galaxy, so don't beat yourself up too much. But
okay.
I think it's a very Jewish concept. The entire phrase "age of consent" is totally Jewish. It's bullshit, because that's not how history did things. History did things with marriage. Just I think sleeping with someone outside of marriage should be illegal. Even if you're engaged to them, it should be illegal.
I can agree to that.
I also believe ideally, when you become an adult, which is 14 for girls and about 16 for boys, when you become an adult, that is when you should get married, but to each other. I don't think it should be
Yeah,
like
I got
you
no
turn
problem with that.
14. I don't think it's like you turn 14 and then there's a 50-year-old man waiting for you. No.
Yeah.
I don't approve of
No,
that.
it's only with each other. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't have a problem with that then. If it's like
And
if it's like just with like a minor and a minor, I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying when the like the lolicon fuckers which are quite prevalent among the groypers actually. It's like they're like people around my age and they're saying it's like, oh, the bet like and they're just saying, I want a 14-year-old wife because that's the most optimal for. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
I find that to be
we know
thoroughly
we
disgusting.
know like where they're coming from with that. But I
Yeah,
think
but I don't
this
have a problem with
obsession,
what you're suggesting.
I think this obsession with age alone is retarded though. There's more to sleeping with someone than just age. Okay, it's about the whole reason we do it. At least if you're a Christian, you believe this is for pair bonding and procreation.
Yeah,
Just those two. It's not meant for I want to have some fun with a random person. In which case it's wrong no matter what the age of either of you is.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not saying age is nothing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not everything like everyone treats it. It is not everything.
I got you.
In fact, I would say if a woman is older than the man, in just about any case, it's wrong. But still, age is not everything. There is a right way to do this, and just leaving it all up to age is retarded. But there's also a reason, and unfortunately I didn't make this clear enough in my video. There's a reason I find this subject so important. And I did say it in the video, I just don't think I emphasized it enough. It's got to be a conspiracy. It has to be, at least in my mind, it has to be a conspiracy to want people to think that you have to be at minimum 18 to be considered an adult, and they still want to increase it. How is that not a conspiracy to make everybody more childlike? And at the same time, when you're trying to convince everybody that full-grown adults are children, you've just blurred the line between what an adult and a child is. I agree with that. By default, that's predatory, and it's being pushed on everyone. It has been for decades, blurring the line between adult and child. And that's what you're doing when you keep increasing the age of what an adult is.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of what I was of like what I was saying earlier in regards to the lolicons. That's like the opposite extreme where it's intentionally trying to I'd say it's also it's like we have these boundaries. We have these boundaries for a reason. Why? Like, okay, I've seen people say it's like, oh, it's like the underage 21-year-old. I think it was like some TikTok thought, like, at the gym complaining about like, oh, why do guys stare at me at the gym? It's like, no, chick, you're not underage. You're an adult. By all intents and purposes, it's like you could buy alcohol. You could get, there's a lot of things that you could legally do at that age for all intents and purposes, and also like your mental faculties too. It's like, for all intents and purposes, you are just calling yourself underage 21-year-old because you're just doing it for attention. You're not actually that. Stop fucking lying.
I also saw that from that chick who interviews people and makes it funny. Like, she interviewed that black woman that thought musician is the same thing as magician, whatever her name is. She left her husband and child to be with black guys, whatever her name is. She said that one time as an excuse for what she did. She's like, when I got married, I was a 21-year-old child. I was like, oh my God, this is why I This is why I bring this subject up. This is why. People are 21 years old and still referring to themselves as a child. That's how
in
do
terms of
people
that, it's
not see what
because
this is? Like, and they have it
it's just
completely
infantilization.
flipped upside down. I've seen people like try to make it sound like I'm the one who's sick. Like, no, all of society, or at least certain people in power, are trying to blur the line between what a child and an adult is. I am trying to unblur the line.
I see your point. I do.
It's a very solid line. You know, maybe you want it a bit more blurred. You want it blurred up to 18. I disagree with that. I don't think we should drag out as much as we can how long it takes someone to grow up. I think we should be training people to be adults as soon as we can, in the hopes that they grow up as fast as possible and start taking life seriously as fast as possible. And I don't mean like unrealistically early. I just mean like don't keep acting like a child when you're 20. Okay? That's what I mean here. But everyone thinks that's okay. It's one of the things that's bringing us down.
Extended. I know this phenomenon you're talking about. Extended adolescence. It's like adolescence is a very specific time in a person's life. And really the only thing that should be extended, so to speak, if we're using this terminology, is adulthood, because once you reach it, it doesn't end until you die.
Yeah. It's a solid line. That's all my argument is. It's a solid line. It's not a blurred line. I think this question might convert you guys to my side here. Very simple question. Have you heard the term horny teenager? Just have you heard the term? Have you heard people say that before? Oh, they're teenagers. They're horny.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, never mind. Yeah, I've heard that.
Something like that. Okay. Why is that a thing if they're still children? If it's common to have these urges, but they're still children? You see my point here? So it begs the question, it begs the question, are they really children? If it's normal to have these urges at that age. So all of society is telling each other, we're all telling each other, it's normal for children to have these urges.
I mean, that is what we're conditioned to believe, that it is just part of the development process. Yeah.
That's why I emphasize this subject. We like blurring this line is part of what's leading to our destruction. And I also believe, like, all these stories we keep hearing about, these hunters, you know, and they keep finding, like, sometimes they find the wrong person and they're just looking for clout. But I don't think child predators used to be this common. I could be wrong, but I don't think they used to be this common. But when your entire society is telling each other and pressuring each other to believe that people are still children when they are well into their adult years, how does that not mess with people's heads? How does it not?
So in regards to that, I also think that okay, actually I need to think on this a little, because there have been instances of just I think there are too many people out there who are basically trying to do the whole pedo hunting thing for clout. It's gotten so bad that I remember this incident pretty well. It's like you had like the people trying to set up the sting, and the people who set up the sting were pretending to be an 18-year-old girl in college. And a 22-year-old man matched with the 18-year-old girl and when, you know, they agreed to a date, he got heckled at by a bunch of guys, and by those guys who were doing the sting. And it's just like, well, they didn't have any sort of case for the sting. Who they were impersonating was somebody who's already an adult.
Yeah, it's a performance.
Like, leave that shit to the professionals, like Alex
Oh.
Rosen.
Come to think of it, this is I don't know how common this is wherever it's at, but have either of you guys heard of Romeo and Juliet laws?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's already kind of a conflict in society. Just the fact that those laws out of necessity exist to accommodate for the idea that 18 is the age in which you have become from a child to an adult. And yet, as we kind of covered already, there's all these different gray areas between areas between, well, when someone does become an adult and a child. Like, Ark, you said that the average for a woman and a man maturing is 16 and that and 14.
No, that's not the average.
full-
That's the maximum. Like, they are all fully grown by those ages.
Yeah. Well, what I was getting at is, well, Romeo and Juliet laws exist. Like I'll use a bit of anecdotal evidence on my part. So, a group of friends I used to have, there was some drama a few years back about one guy in our extended friend group having intercourse with the girl. Now I think the guy was 19 at the time and the girl was 16, which, given public, given the general consensus on this thing, is a very, very contentious. But where that conflict came in is, well, it's why I brought up the Romeo and Juliet laws, because had he, again, I may be misremembering a few things, but had he turned 18 and then 19, let's say they were dating for 2 years and they were both in high school when they started, what do you do when someone hits that magic number 18 and becomes legal and an adult? Well, are they expected to stop dating at that point because one's a child? So I get where you're going. I get what you're saying, Ark. You know, with that blurring of the lines, because it takes something that's black and white and makes a bigger gray in between.
Yeah, those kinds of laws think they're helping, but really they're just covering for a bigger lie. Because in truth, they're at those ages you just gave in that specific story, they are both fully grown. And fully grown by definition means adult. Now, I don't know how they met each other and whatnot. And by the way, it can be predatory regardless of age. Regardless. That's why I keep saying we put a retarded amount of emphasis on age. It's retarded. It can be a predatory situation no matter how old either of them are. Like, I used to date a woman 16 years older than me. I was 22. I look back on that, and even though, like, she didn't pursue me, she still wanted to be with me, which I won't call her a predator, but I will call her a creep. There's not much of a difference between those two things, but there is a difference. She was a creep for wanting to be with me when I'm that much younger than her, and women are supposed to want to be with a man who can protect and take care of them and has life experience and all that jazz, which I did not have when I was 22 and she was 38. Clearly. So why did she want to be with me? So age is not everything, but it's not nothing.
I'd like to engage.
Oh yeah, hold on. Romeo and Juliet laws. It's just cover. It's just covering for a bigger lie. What it really is admitting is, yeah, they both are adults, but we're just pretending that only one of them is. That is what these laws are ultimately admitting. They're both adults. Otherwise, if you truly thought that 16-year-old was a child, you wouldn't have Romeo and Juliet laws saying that's okay. You wouldn't. If you firmly thought that is a child, you wouldn't care how close they are in age. You would tell the guy, wait. Only if they
And
were
to-
like extremely close in age, like 6 months apart, would that make sense. But even then, you wouldn't need a law for that, would you? I don't think so. You're basically the same age. But
to be
final
clear,
point.
oh yes, go ahead.
Final point. I think we all agree, right, that Mother Mary was like 13 or 14 when she had Jesus.
Yeah, that's about
Yes,
right.
the Theotokos was 14, and to us Orthodox, Saint Joseph was actually older. But the thing is, it's like she never had, like, they never had any sexual relations with each other.
Yeah, but they
Like,
also
he was more of a conservator.
they also
In the
weren't
LDS faith, she's considered 13 usually.
they also weren't ostracized or anything like that by their neighbors. No one found it weird. I draw the line at 14. Solid line at 14. So I wouldn't be okay with that. And even at 14, I'm still like, oh, I mean, he should be closer in age to her. That's just me. But my point in bringing up Mother Mary is it just further proves the fact that we already know what I'm saying here. We already agree on that. We're just pretending we disagree with it. And how do people not realize this is a psyop? A psyop to extend our adolescence as far as possible, to therefore make us as weak as possible, as stupid as possible, as inferior as possible, so that the elites can have much better control over us. How do people not see this when it's so obvious?
I mean, I get your point, man. I'm just, for me personally, I don't think I'm ever gonna give up the whole. But I will say, I think it, like, U.S. government, is it 18 or 21? I think it should be 18. That way we could have, that way, people who are 18 years old cannot get arrested, for possessing alcohol. But that's me. I think the age of adulthood is 18. Now, to your point, I wouldn't have a problem if like a 14-year-old girl, 16-year-old boy got married. I wouldn't have a problem with that. The reason why I keep bleeding about that, it's like, because we unfortunately we no longer live in that world where people get where people get married earlier and are actually able to wait, and because something like that requires a country to actually be Christian, like properly Christian.
To be
But
100%
we do
honest
not
with
live
you,
in that.
Scurvy, to be 100% honest with you, I think that particular argument, that last one you just made, is horseshit. Because to me, it sounds like, well, everything's stupid now, so we just have to add to the stupid, guys. Sorry. That's what it sounds like to me.
But I'm not saying like things can't get like better where we can go back to, it's like, oh, people can actually wait and then get married. I'm just saying, like, in regards to the world we live in today, it's like, I don't think it should be raised beyond 18. That's absolutely just like, okay, you're just trying to hamper the birth rate at that point. Any number above 18, even if it's 19, you're just trying to hamper the birth rate at that point.
But what is so special about 18 though? Because objectively, scientifically, biologically, there is no significant difference between 15 and 18. So what's so magical about 18?
At least from the stuff that I've researched, and also just kind of going about with in like how, like, just honestly, I think I would have to say it's more so of like mental. It's like I've seen the kinds of there's a reason why I say I don't want minors on Twitter anymore. Like I don't expect
I don't want women of
the
any age on Twitter.
I'm just saying it's like
Women never stop being stupid.
basically it's like I've seen what these people say online. I do not trust them at all with any sort of I do not trust them at all to raise any kids believing in the bullshit they believe, the communities they're part of, just like everything that our culture wants our youth getting involved in, and they do. It's like that tells me it's like, okay, you should absolutely not reproduce in the first place. You are too stupid to reproduce now. When you grow when you do hit that number 18, you are too stupid to reproduce then. And as the years go on, you just keep proving that you're too stupid to reproduce.
But it still doesn't make that much of a difference. Sorry to keep hammering that point, but at the end of the day, it's still not that. It's still nothing.
I'd rather not have like people who just who make their whole identities about just whatever fandom they're a part of to be having children. I don't want parents who are basically involved in communities they shouldn't be involved in and make it their whole identity. It's gonna fuck up the kids.
That's not even an age thing. That's a lifestyle thing.
I know, but the people, but in regards to like who gets like the people who are being groomed into that, because let's be real, a lot of the grooming that does happen in such communities, which does also, funnily enough, also extends to the anime community as well. It's like these people can't reproduce. They're unable to, or they're F slurs. Their next best thing are those minors on the internet that they know that they could because of how stupid they are, they could easily get away with grooming them and fucking up their life. It is also an IQ thing.
Do you have any thoughts, Try? We've been talking a while.
I've just been sitting back for the past few minutes and thinking. I haven't said this on the podcast, but Ark, you and I have talked about this subject a little bit. And one of the things I've said to you, I think a couple times actually, is I would consider if we insisted on keeping the concept of age of consent instead of the age of marriage, I would raise it to 20, solely to address the general maturity crisis that we've had over the past few generations as a temporary measure. But as you've kept talking about it, I've realized that's just that's in the same vein as the Romeo and Juliet laws are. It's putting a Band-Aid on a bigger problem. It's not addressing the underlying issues whatsoever.
Yeah, and if anything that our politics in America has taught me, if there's anything, it's that there's no such thing as a temporary measure. Everything they do is meant to be permanent, even if they didn't mean it to be permanent. Like Australia.
That's true.
Australia. Do you guys remember they were building COVID camps in like 2022? At the tail end of the so-called pandemic, they were building camps. Like, when it comes to people in power, especially in democracies, when it comes to making decisions of any kind, they either have no intention of making it temporary or they have no fucking clue how to make it temporary. Their thinking is always, we secretly want this to be permanent, or we just don't know how to stop the momentum. Like, we've always done this, so let's just keep doing it. I don't believe in temporary measures anymore. I believe in fix this shit now.
Yeah, I see your point.
But that's just me. Now, when it comes to this subject, you guys know I don't say this in a vacuum, and everyone's going to accuse me as if I am trying to make it sound like that. I don't believe in this in a vacuum. Like as soon as girls turn 14, 50-year-old men can start hitting on them. I don't believe in that at all. In fact, I don't believe in sex at all with unmarried peoples. I don't mean this in a vacuum, but
Space,
at the same
space.
time, I am fucking sick of people pretending that people who have fully developed, who have urges naturally and normally are still children. To me, that's absolutely sick. Calling them children when they are objectively not. Now, if you're of the opinion that, okay, they are adults, which is just fact anyway, but if you want to keep this in the perspective of opinions, they are adults, but you don't want them, to have these kinds of things happening, like 50-year-old men hitting on them and shit like that, or being with them for that matter. If you don't want that, okay, then let's fix the system. Let's fix all of it. And let's start with make it illegal to fuck somebody when you're not married to them. That would be a wonderful start. That would make me very happy. And then we can add to that. We can add maybe we should have some law about betrothals. Like you have to be forget engagements. Just get rid of that word entirely. Engagement. Bring back betrothals. Betrothals. As in one family and another family agree their son and their daughter are going to get married 3 years in advance. Like make that an actual law. That would also make me happy. 3 years in advance minimum. And it has to be a family thing. It's not just like, I like you and you like me, so let's get married.
Yeah,
That's horseshit. Make it
that's
a
what
family
I
thing.
was actually going to say something similar. It's like the parents should absolutely, especially the father, should absolutely be involved in that process.
I think the father should be able to veto entirely a betrothal.
I agree. I wouldn't want some Indian just like, I want to marry your daughter. Fuck off. Fuck off. That's not happening.
I'm not too familiar with the concept of betrothals. I mean, I've heard about them.
Oh, you just fell in it, didn't you? I love this subject. So
yeah, I did, but that's okay. I am willing to learn.
I love this subject. I don't claim to be an expert on it, but I do love this subject. Okay, so with betrothals, like you can be betrothed to someone before you're even born. All it means is you're treated as you're married to someone before you're actually married to them. And basically the father of each person, the father of the man and the father of the daughter, or the woman, I'm starting to not be able to talk either. They have the most authority, but I think families as entire entities should have some kind of say in who is betrothed, but mostly it's the father of both sides. And see, marriage is a human universal, meaning every civilization has had it. Even primitive tribes have marriage. And the reason for that is raising children. But what comes with the need to raise children? Stability, knowing what you're doing, and stability also means the parents staying together. The parents have to stay together to raise the kids together and be responsible for the kids together. That's why marriage is a human universal, even with uncivilized tribes. Everyone understands this is necessary for raising human beings. They need both parents the entire time. And if not, like let's say one of the parents dies or both of them die, the children still have their extended families to fall back on to be raised by them. The nuclear family, I kind of see that term as a
As a
pun.
trap.
I see it as a pun because I see it like a nuclear bomb waiting to go off. As in, like, the father dies and now everyone's in trouble because they don't live anywhere near their extended family at all. Their extended family is in another state or something. The father and the mother wanted to move and start a whole new life and all that shit. And then the father dies and the mother's screwed.
Yeah, I've actually thought that about the nuclear family for a while.
It's a time
Especially
bomb.
since,
Too.
yeah.
And you just
It's
got to
just-
hope that it doesn't go off before you grow up. Otherwise, you're in so much trouble. But yeah, betrothals reinforce families being involved with romance and being involved in who gets married and stays married. It's pressure as well. It's not just like I want to be able to control my children. It's so much. It's not that at all, and it's so much more than that kind of shallow thinking. It's family involvement, and you're involved from before these people get married. It's one family getting to know another family that maybe they already know each other and they just want to strengthen that bond with marriage. So there's that. But also betrothal, my favorite part about betrothal is it prepares both of you to be married, to raise kids. The man, whether he's not fully grown yet or not, either way, while he is betrothed to someone, he has time to prepare, to get land, to get a decent paying job, whatever it is he needs to do to get ready. He has time to get ready because this is going to happen. And both families are pressuring him to get his shit together. So it makes men better as well. And the woman, the wife to be, she is basically raised from birth to be a wife. Here's how you cook. Here's how you clean. Here's how to recognize what situations lead to mold and what, babies are basically suicide machines. So here's how you watch over babies. Like they're trained from birth to be mothers. So it's healthy pressure. It's a healthy preparation period. Gives people time to prepare to be husbands and wives. And since both families are involved, it just inherently makes the marriage more likely to last after it happens because both families are involved, which means if there's a divorce, it's basically going to tear both families apart. And for women especially, since they don't do their own thinking, they're very group thinking creatures. If they feel enormous pressure not to destroy their family, they most likely won't. So it fixes every problem all at once. Betrothals are amazing, and we need to go back to them. Fuck engagements. Engagements aren't even real. Like saying, oh, we chose to get married, so now we're engaged. Fuck off.
They also seem to provide another layer of protection to the to the two people, betrothed, because you got both families involved. They have vested interest in like seeing if or hoping this will succeed.
Yep.
So something I'm actually thinking that you could probably a misconception that I realized that you can clear up. And it's something I've wondered about betrothals, because this is definitely not the first time you've proposed that we go back to having betrothals. So the only instances, and I realize that this is probably just standard Hollywood propaganda, but the only context in which I've heard the term betrothal being used is in terms of a marriage in which is solely forced, in which, say, neither party can back out. Like they don't have any agency in the matter.
That's certainly
And
propaganda. Although there is some truth to it by definition, like you don't entirely have the option to say no. Sure. Or at the very least, there's enormous pressure to go along with it. Sure.
but technically speaking, you can like say, let's just say both parties involved, they're betrothed before birth, but they both fall for someone else,
Too bad.
respectively.
Too bad. Because, okay, here's another misconception about marriage. Marriage, as we think of it, is just retarded. Marriage almost has nothing to even do with love. Marriage is about kids. Kids/legacy. Continuing something of value to both your family, yourself, and your tribe. To hell with your feelings, okay? Marriage is a duty first. It's not, oh, you found your soulmate and you just want to be with them forever. That's fucking gay, first of all. It's a function. It's not playtime. It's not a romance novel. It's a duty. It's a function. All civilizations need it. That's why it's a human universal. Now, ideally, you fall in love after you're married. Or hell, here's another beauty of betrothals that I actually forgot to mention. You're getting to know each other as well during this period of time. Remember I said it's like you're treated as if you're already married, but you're not. You know, you're not living together, you're not sleeping together. You're still not allowed to even touch each other like that. But otherwise, you are treated as if you are already married. Like, this is your betrothed. You have to treat them like such. But you have a time period to get to know each other. Now, sure, you have people watching you the whole time, but still, you can get to know each other during these years before you get married. And even if you don't like each other at first, you could down the road. And after you get married, after you start sleeping together and having kids, sex, it's like I said earlier, it serves two functions: procreation and pair bonding. You can fall in love with someone, you can grow to love someone after you've been married to them. It's perfectly possible. In fact, I would say it's probably normal. Maybe not. I guess I'd have to research that. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was normally the case. People who weren't really that into each other after they got married, they were. It took a while, but now they are. Oh, sorry, Scurvy.
That's all right. That's all right. But I need to get some shut eye lest I wipe off the eye crust in such a wrong way that it causes heat death of the universe.
Of course.
Whatever that means, okay.
Just ask some of my friends.
All right, well, you have a good night then, Scurvy.
All right, good
Hey,
night.
you too.
I mostly finished my point, I think. It gives you, being betrothed gives you time to get to know each other, gives you time to possibly develop feelings for each other. And even if it still doesn't happen, one of the wonders of sex is that it's for pair bonding. You chemically become more attached to each other as you have sex. It happens over time. It does not have to happen before anything is arranged. That's retarded. When you have an entire marriage system based entirely on feelings, we're seeing the results of that. Feelings are very fickle things, aren't they? One day you like each other, one day you don't. That's not a recipe for stability. What is a recipe for stability is leaning on the fact that sex is a chemically bonding experience. Lean on that. Depend on that. But don't make it the basis. If you make it all about feelings, that's just simply unstable, and marriage needs to be stable. The whole point of marriage is stability.
I mean, I guess I do have one more, but it's admittedly not very serious.
Sure.
Vlad the Impaler was actually pretty based.
No, we agree there.
I mean, I was half joking, but no, like I've established not only before, but reiterated even just on tonight's podcast, I'm I do consider myself illiterate in that I'm not very educated, be it religion, theology, history, and so forth. But from what I know about Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Tepes, I do think he was very based.
Yeah.
Where I could maybe argue he was excessive was how many bodies he impaled. The way I see it, you really only need to impale one of your enemies, maybe two if for some reason they didn't get the message the first time around. But if your enemy doesn't get the message after two corpses skewered, you may as well just wipe them out entirely. Otherwise, hanging up all those bodies is just such a hassle.
It is a bit of a hassle, but I think the more bodies, the stronger the message. Unfortunately, an aspect of war is psychological, and he excelled at psychological warfare.
My favorite part is that a lot of the brutality that he displayed, he learned from his enemies, but he exemplified them. So it is very much, I will do unto you tenfold what you've done unto me.
I believe in that principle. Not in every case, not, I don't believe it all the time, 100%, but broadly speaking, especially when it comes to politics and warfare, I very much believe in that. For example, if they use chemicals on you, use your best chemicals on them.
Yep, that's fair game. No, I think that's fair. Especially if you're using whatever methods being used against you in response. Like if you're not instigating that, then I do think it is fair game. Like you said, chemical warfare. Take anything really. Like in siege warfare, when they would throw corpses over enemy walls to spread disease, I wouldn't personally take that approach to initiate the battle. But if my enemies, if they start throwing corpses into my castle to spread diseases, well, at that point, yeah, I'm throwing them right back.
Yeah.
It's
if you have any like confirmed cases of like your own people being infected with them, I would order them to handle these bodies and throw them right back.
honestly, my principle when it comes to war is very simple. You did it to me first.
Yeah, that is actually a good principle to live by, especially including what starts wars. Like, I don't believe in like invading a land just because you want something. Like, try to strike a deal first.
Yeah,
And
bargain, negotiate,
yeah,
trade.
if it's not something your people truly need, then just go without. But yeah, if someone invades you, like we talked about at the beginning with households in general, someone invades you, have at them. Go to town.
I realize I'm truly outing myself as a pleb here. I have not read the book yet. It is on my reading list. But I have seen the Ender's Game movie. Now, I'm not trying to have a discussion about whether that's a good film or not. Have you seen the movie or read the book before I make this point?
I was forced to read the book in high school. I don't remember it, and I've not seen the movie and probably never will.
Okay, so spoilers aren't an issue. Got it. I really like Ender's philosophy when it comes to dealing with bullies. It's one of the. I think it's the first thing that's established about his character is that he really does try to, do what's best by him, just as much as he can. And he when he's confronted by bullies, he takes every measure to try to avoid them first, until he's backed into a corner and has no choice. Then he uses what people would call excessive force, and I am in full support of that approach.
Oh yeah, that's my philosophy. I'll do everything I can to avoid it, but if I have no other option, I will crank it up
You
to
cut
11.
out there.
Hold on. I was saying, yeah, that's my exact philosophy as well. I will do everything I can to avoid the problem, but if I'm backed into a corner and I have no other option, I will crank it to 11. I will scare you with how hard I retaliate, but I'll do everything I can to avoid that first.
Kind of think of it. You ever notice how that's a very common white trait?
Yep. I think of the Crusades. We let them get away with taking a large portion of Europe until we just couldn't fucking tolerate it anymore. And then all of Christendom united to push them back. I think it's like the only time all of Christendom has been united was to take our lands back.
Yeah, it's something I think about. I think I saw this pointed out by some presumably non-white anon on X Twitter. Someone made a comment somewhere about a strength and weakness to white people is our seeming inability to have kind of a balance between trying to avoid conflict at all cost to fully trying to exterminate whatever the threat is. Whereas most other people, there's a fine balance between fending off threats and fleeing from them. Whereas us is we tend to tolerate threats just as much as we can until we actually can't stand it anymore. And then when we do push back, it's catastrophic.
Yeah. I was thinking like blacks are the complete reverse, where it's just like you're slightly inconvenienced or you feel disrespected, and then you just fucking kill the guy. Takes almost nothing. Oh, I should send you guys a clip. The comedian Louis C.K. was talking about, or he was talking with one or two other people about the subject of blacks, and one of the guys he was talking with made this exact point. He's like, yeah, but I don't have the inclination to like fucking curb stomp a guy just because he looked at me funny and then continue to kick him until he's dead. And Louis C.K., because, you know, he's very liberal, left-wing, progressive retard, he's like trying to shut down this guy's point before he makes it. I should send that clip to you guys. I was just listening to it, and it was a month or two ago, and I was just loving it. Like, yeah, this guy's right on point with how blacks behave. And Louis C.K. just is so uncomfortable with it. God forbid you listen to the truth.
To your point about blacks being the opposite of whites in this regard, like, you know, again, how whites, we tolerate threats until we just absolutely cannot anymore before catastrophically annihilating it. Blacks, you know, they overreact over minor inconvenience, but their whole continent can be colonized, and their attempts to fight back are futile.
Well, yeah, because both approaches are entirely contingent on IQ. I'm not even like trying to make a racism here. This is just objectively true. It is the more intelligent thing to do to find peaceful solutions first. It is the less intelligent thing to do to just simply attack first and consider the consequences later. And so, yeah, it's easy to take over Africa because they're not that bright.
I also think there's a self-fearing element to this as well. I think given not only the explicit anti-white propaganda that's been prevalent over the past at least half century or so. All that aside, we have so much history to draw back on. I believe a lot of us, most of us, why we're so hesitant to really push back against what's been happening to us is I think we're afraid. We know what we're capable of, and we are afraid of inflicting that kind of terror on the world.
Yeah, and history has proven we certainly can. Like, why are we so obsessed with the Nazis? Not just because the Jews want us to be, but it's also because, like, yeah, when you push white people to the extreme, we may as well have, like, achieved building the Death Star. Like, we can cause any amount of destruction we want to, and the only people who can stop us is each other.
Although I do think maybe, and I'm sure this is definitely a discussion for another time, perhaps. Where would other races fall on this metronome? Perhaps.
Asians like to keep to themselves, I've noticed. You know, the Japanese like their islands, their archipelago. Chinese, you know, they've been in the same spot for 5,000 years. and they like it there. They're not looking to expand. Something about being Asian makes you very content where you are. Yeah, all they really are concerned about is their own land, I've noticed. Like, we don't want to mix with other people too much, but we will fiercely defend ourselves if you cross us on our territory.
I actually have a few other ideas about why that is the case, but I actually think we should close out this episode. Because, I mean, unless there's anything else you want to bring up, I've got nothing else.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be the disagreement episode, but we all ended up agreeing with each other more so than not, just a lot more.
I think I could be wrong, and we'll need Scurvy back on to confirm this or not, but I kind of think I finally got you guys to agree with me on the age thing.
I'll mull it over.
I think where you are tempted to disagree is because it sounds like I'm saying this in a vacuum, and Scurvy was kind of retorting as if I was saying this in a vacuum, and I absolutely do not believe in this in a vacuum. Like, it is absolutely not my belief. Like, keep everything exactly the way it is and just lower the age of consent. No, that's fucked up.
A lot of change would have to be made to accommodate this. No, I understand that.
Well, I didn't really give an introduction, but I guess I'll give a close. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We are pre-recording now because it enables us to make these things a lot better. It also helps make it easier to release these things in clips. Trim the fat. Whenever there's dead air, it can get rid of that. It just helps everything to pre-record. So I'm sure you guys don't have an issue with that. And yeah, this episode was supposed to be particularly interesting because we always agree with each other. And I wanted to do the complete opposite, find things we don't agree on, but that completely failed. We agree on too much, almost.
That's okay. We'll just have to keep trying.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got our denominational differences, so there's something going for us.
Yeah, but we already knew about that. Everyone already knew about that.
Yeah. I guess you mean finding new things to disagree about.
Yeah, new things. But yeah, better luck next time. So hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and see you for the following one.